Ship is back. We took a break for the summer and now we're back for the fall. And I'm so excited to be here today with our guest speaker, Sherri Phillips, the COO and co-owner of Deutsch Photography. Sherri, thank you so much for coming on to the live today.
Oh, it's fantastic to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Anne.
Oh my gosh, of course. You were on the my short list of people I wanted to invite.
Oh, I'm not on your list of short people.
No, just the short list of people I want to have here. Cool. So we have a really great 30 minutes for everybody today, all about your profile photo. And Sherri's got some really great tips. But before, let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. And so we'd like to just welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us live on this Friday. And if you can, pop in the chat where you're listening in from, just because we always am curious. I'm calling in from Manhattan, New York. Sherri?
I'm in Manhattan as well, up in good old Washington Heights.
Okie dokie. Cool. And I'm down in Chelsea, just on the same side of Manhattan. So we're just a couple miles apart. And then for that too, before we kind of get started, and we'll do a little preface before we get into our agenda, out of curiosity, when someone is looking at your profile photo, at your LinkedIn profile, and they look at your photo, how do you want them to feel? What do they want them to think about you when they look at your profile photo? And I'm just curious to ask that question, if everyone could pop it in the chat. How do you want people to feel about your profile photo and feel about you? And so, well, people, I think it's a great question because it speaks to your brand.
Exactly. And it also helps when you're having your photo taken to think about that. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I see people actually coming. Oh, we have some people that coming in from Pennsylvania and Toronto and Dallas. And we've got some answers coming in. People said approachable and friendly. I think that's a good way to feel. Friendly and competent. We've got 2 friendly so far. I want people to think or kind of get that I'm approachable and an expert. I think that's what I would say. What would you say, Sherri? What would your answer to that question?
Yeah, I would want my photo to be welcoming, so that they're invited in, and relatable, so that they can see something of themselves in them.
Oh, that's so good. See themselves in you. Oh, that's so good. We've got friendly and competent, comfortable and competent. It seems to be like people want to be approachable. It seems to be the theme, and look like they know what they're doing. Okay, awesome. So just to give folks a little background of how we got here. So I did a workshop for a group of really amazing CUNY students. And I asked them what questions they had about LinkedIn, and photos, their profile photo came up a lot. And so I actually reached out to Sherri and I was like, hey, Sherri, I got so many questions about profile photos. Can you help me answer them for the students? And then we just sort of kept talking and came up with this whole idea for the live. So that's how we're here today. So we're covering a lot more than the questions from the students, but we will answer those at the end. And so I'm going to stop talking and just after I share the agenda, and then we're going to pull in Sherri. So we're going to be talking about Sherri's top 2 unbreakable photo tips, her 3 top breakable photo tips, and then we'll go into Q&A. Sound good? I'm going to think that everyone's agreeing with me. So we'll just get going. Okay, so Sherri, I'm happy to pull up these photos. And what is your top unbreakable photo tip?
Absolutely. To thine own self be true. It's so important. You know, Shakespeare wasn't just shooting the breeze when he said that. It really comes across if you are not true to yourself in your photos. And when people actually meet you and there's a disconnect, that's not a good thing. So you definitely want to be yourself in your photos. And Dr. Seuss said it in an even more engaging way, perhaps. There is no one alive who is youer than you. That's what you want to reflect in your photos. Authentic.
Yeah, my favorite Oscar Wilde quote, which is like, be yourself, everyone else is already taken.
Yes, that's a great quote. Exactly.
And I know we've got some examples, Sherri, so should I flip through them really quickly?
So, just a real quick comment on
let me go back.
prior.
There we go.
Is just look how different all of these people are. Nobody's trying to imitate anyone else. You do not see any 2 lookalikes. You see a bunch of different outfits, different lighting, some in the studio, some outside. There are some general rules that we say to follow, but they are being true to their own selves.
I also really like, Sherri, that you see like the guy looks like he might be a scientist of some sort. If that's a lab coat, maybe, or it might be a suit jacket. I'm not
He's a
sure.
doctor.
But he's a doctor. Okay, so
Yeah.
I picked up on it immediately, right? And I say that too when people ask me what should I do with my profile photo, and my answer is always like, look professional, but to your profession. If you're a doctor and you want to wear scrubs, that's fine. If you're a lawyer and you need to wear a suit, you should go with the suit. Do you not like? So I think
Exactly.
it's all about yeah. I
And
can
in
tell
fact,
I
to
have
that
some different
point on the
outfits
next
here.
slide,
Yeah.
so this guy is an artist, and his shot is a little more in your face and a little, the head nod, the tilt,
Yeah.
and the fact that he took it so close in kind of reflects that background, that art background. And then
Oh,
next,
I get it.
this woman is a jewelry designer and owns her own company, and you can kind of see this impish look
Yeah.
on her face. It's not this big broad grin, but it's still professional and polished. And then
She looks fun to me. Do you know what I
she
mean?
is
She
fun.
looks fun.
And I
Yeah.
will tell you that when we started
Oh,
that shoot,
oh,
it was stiff, 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 and
oh.
it was delightful as she loosened up over the course of a few minutes.
I honestly, Sherri, I feel like during a photo shoot, I'd do the same thing.
Oh,
I would be
everybody
really, really
does.
stiff for about
Everybody
15
does.
minutes. Yeah. And
Totally.
then we have this beautiful photo.
Man, talk about to thine own self be true, right? She
Yeah.
has broken so many she has veered off tips. She is her own person, but she's
hmm
being true to herself. And as you'll see in the next Unbreakable Rules, she's doing that as well.
This woman looks like someone you want to invite to your party.
Oh my gosh,
That's the
she
vibe I'm
totally
getting.
is. And
Yeah.
her dog and her partner are very much of the same ilk. It's pretty funny.
Amazing. I think we've got one or two more.
And this woman
Yeah.
is a trainer, to your point, Anne, about the doctor. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't appear in my LinkedIn photo like this because I'm not a trainer and it would be completely
Right.
like, what? I don't
Right.
understand. But look at her spirit. She connects with the camera, but she's
Yeah.
wearing what she wears to work.
Yeah. And this is a brilliant photo because I immediately know what she does.
Yep.
Immediately. Yeah. And then I know we have one more.
This woman is an attorney. This is a very traditional headshot. It's in the studio. It has a kind of fade gray background. But
Yeah.
same thing, man. She is who she is, and it works, and she
Mm.
connects.
I love it. And I'm just going to remove this slide just for a second here. Okay. Just because I wanted to just check the chat really quickly and talk a little bit about this number one unbreakable rule, which is to thine own self be true. And it looks like, yeah, folks are actually asking, like, what does this woman do? This is amazing. Does anyone have any questions about this? Just pop them in the chat and we'll get to them later, just so you know, you can keep interacting with us there. And the authenticity thing, Sherri, I also find too, even with writing resumes and LinkedIn profiles, like professions like attorneys and people in finance and consulting, they sort of need to be a little bit more professional. Do you know what I mean? Versus maybe like entrepreneurs like us, we can be a little bit more authentic
Yeah,
to our
definitely.
brand.
If you are working
Yeah.
in a large company, they will have their brand, and you have to reflect your brand and their brand at the same time.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I understand. All right. Well, let's go to unbreakable rule number 2, and let me bring the slides back up because you have a great example of this.
Eeks!
Yeah.
Yeah, it does zero good to be really authentic if people can't see you or if you look like, orange. And you can see how, just the vast amount of difference. You can actually see this guy's eyes on the right a lot more. He's connecting through the camera.
Yeah.
The first one looks like something out of the 70s, kind of muddy and not very engaging. Although his expression is fine, that's all good. But definitely having a more polished, clean look is important. Getting the light, huge.
Sure. To me, this is sort of like a night and day. Like the one on the left looks like a mall photo from the 80s. Do you know what I mean? With or like a school photo that was poorly lit. And even I can tell too, I think he even looks a lot more polished with the tie.
Yeah, that's true.
That makes
That's
a big
true.
difference.
And good lighting can be had by anyone. You don't have to be in a studio to get good lighting. In fact, our favorite place for good lighting is Mother Nature. It's just important to know when during the day gives you the best lighting, which is mid-morning and mid to late afternoon. Or stand by a window and it gives you kind of a diffusive light, which is awesome.
Got it. I actually didn't know that. I would have thought the best lighting would be like right about noon, but that's when the sun is at its highest, right?
And
So
that's
it's
when you get
not.
like those,
Oh.
raccoon eyes. Or if it's too late, then you get it directly in and people are like, you know, deer in the headlights. I don't know why we have all these animal analogies, the raccoon eyes, the deer in the headlights. But yeah,
Yeah.
you can be your best lighting assistant. You don't have to go into a studio.
Okay, and I know we've got some tips for lighting coming later for sure. So those are the two unbreakable tips, which is to your thine own self, be true, be authentic, right? And then lighting makes a
Lighting,
huge difference.
yes.
All right, and I know you've got 3 breakable photo tips to share. So let's talk about those. So what's your number 1 breakable photo tip?
So number 1 is the mirror is your best friend. Practice, practice, practice. That is, we all know that. Everybody on this stream right now knows that practice makes perfect. Not that we're looking for perfect, but practice makes a lot better. And either use your zoom, so smile, back up, see when you look fake, tilt in, go straight in, practice. And you're going to start laughing. You'll see yourself loosen up. And that's exactly what's going to happen in your photo shoot. But figure out which angles, is a little bit of a tilt better, usually. You don't want to fake it, and you don't want to get super, unless you're, some va-va-voom actress or something, you don't want to get really, really turned. You want it to look real. You want all those things that we said at the beginning, right? You want to look nice, approachable, professional, etc. So definitely play. And then when you're actually at the photo shoot, screw up. So practice, practice, practice. And then when you're at the photo shoot, deliberately screw up. Make, fish faces, or make yourself laugh fake, like, and then when you stop, you'll find that you're actually being genuine and smiling, and you get rid of some of those nerves. So we do that we have clients scream. If they're performers, we have them actually like belt out a tune. We've had dog barking contests, you name it, whatever. Most of all, though, we chat so that people kind of come down off of the jitters.
Loosen up. Yeah. Okay. So practice. Practice. And I love that you're giving everybody permission to just screw up and kind of get everything out.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? And try some different things.
It goes click, click, click. So you're not getting just one shot. And so don't wrap yourself into, smile big. Oh no, I'm stuck. That's the only shot I have. It's not like that. It's the beauty of cameras.
I guess also with digital film now, I mean, you can just keep taking a whole bunch.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, in fact, that's to our next tip, which is iteration is key, because you can see the photo develop. You can check the shots along the way, for sure, hence digital. And if for some reason you are actually doing it yourself, like with your phone or with a remote on a camera, it's always great to hook up into your laptop so that you can look at the shots and see, the shadow's not quite right, or the light is really too bright, or man, do I look nervous in that shot, and shake it off and come back in again. So iteration is key. Okay. And the second one is, don't do it alone. Go to a professional photographer or recruit your best buddy who has a great eye, and ask for advice as you're going, and tell them, help me loosen up. I'm not feeling it. Help them, have them look at your shots on screen and say, we should pull the light just a little bit. Let's try it this way. So don't be afraid to experiment. That's good to know, because I would almost recommend that folks take like an hour and a half. Do you know what I mean? Like really plan to have a lot of fun with it, because one of the statistics that I love, and I think it's like, people with profile photos are like 36 times more likely to receive a message. Yeah. So it matters so much. It's one of the most impactful things that you can do for your LinkedIn profile is to have a really good photo of you. Let's take a quick look over at the comments. Yeah.
People are saying that they love that you said to screw up, like screw up intentionally.
Man, it's the one thing I'm really
know?
good at, is screwing
Yeah.
up. So why not take advantage of that, right?
It's amazing. And then I know we've got one more tip. Tip number
Yeah.
3.
So this one's a little bit trickier, and it can be a little nerve-wracking. But look your best. Don't. It's great to get comp shots and go, meaning comparable shots. Like, oh, I love the way this person looks in this photo and this person looks in this photo, and just to get a sense, like go through 100 different photos, check out what you like. But in the end, this goes back to being authentic. Be yourself. So when I said that woman, that really brightly dressed, beautiful woman that we saw.
I'll bring her back on really quickly. Here we go. This picture?
Yeah. So one of our tips is make sure you're the star and the statement. She definitely is. And yet, a really common tip, and we definitely give this one, is 90% of the time you should be using a neutral background. Neutral, she is not. Neutral, her background is not. And yet she makes it work. But by neutral also, I should say that, so in the shots around her, you can see that there's an urban background in one. The chef at the bottom is actually pictured in front of his awards.
Yeah.
The woman, like one down from the artist at the top left, has a brighter outdoor background behind her. And then you see also some studio shots. So neutral doesn't have to mean white or black, as long as you are first and foremost the star of your own photo. And then clothes. My goodness, this woman did not go for clothes that don't compete for attention, and yet for her it works. So again, these are just guidelines. If you're going to start breaking some of the guidelines, though, start slow. Like choose one to break. Wear that giant piece of hunkin' jewelry that really is your statement piece. That's cool, but don't do that and have kind of super bright clothes on and have flyaway messy hair. You get the message.
I got it. And I like that the number one's unbreakable, be authentic. Number 2 is lighting. And then the other ones, you know what I mean? I think like if you haven't taken a headshot before or a profile photo, stick with those. Do you know what I mean? And once you sort of get comfortable, then you can go into the breakable.
Definitely.
rules.
One of the things that you brought up is one of the tips, Anne, that I love is in the final crop, you should be about 60% of your profile photo. And again, that's breakable, like with not the trainer, I don't remember now, but there was one in there where there's a lot more space around them. That's okay, but if you're starting out, let people get to know you, and eventually you can, do some broader shots or back shots or show some of your background.
No, I think it's also good because people want to see your face. Do you know, if you're too far back, because the image is so tiny on LinkedIn. And I forgot to say this earlier, but just so folks know, we're talking about your profile, like your LinkedIn individual profile. We're not talking about company pages. Those are a totally different thing. But on your profile photo, right, the image can be small. And you also have to remember on your phone, right, it's going to be even smaller.
Right.
So that's why I say at least 60% I give that people, because they need to be able to see your face and see the expression on your face. Yeah.
Kim Schlossberg, yes, you got it. If you always wear audacious clothes, put them on, baby. Show us. But don't put them on only for the photo shoot and then stick it to the very back of the closet where you always kept it before.
Yeah. I agree, because I feel like I take better photos if I feel comfortable in the clothes that I'm wearing.
Yeah.
And definitely. I can even tell when I try on clothes if I immediately feel comfortable or not. And it makes a huge difference, I think, in your attitude. I'm sure you probably see that with your clients. Yeah.
Stiff, uncomfortable. Yeah. No.
That makes sense. Okay. All right. We've got about 10 minutes left. So what I'd like to do is for everyone joining us, if you have any questions for Sherri about LinkedIn profile photos and taking photos, please pop them in the chat. And while everybody's doing that, we've got some questions prepared. So Sherri, is it okay if I ask you a couple questions about profile
Definitely.
photos?
Before you do, I just want to comment on Margaret's
go for it.
Comment. too much space on them, it is really an easy fix on LinkedIn. So if you have a photo that has not been cropped the way you want, LinkedIn does offer the ability to crop right there. And you can even change the lighting a little bit. You can't make bad great, but you can make pretty good.
I like that you give you some filters and things that you can try out a little bit. Okay, cool. All right. So the first question, and this is from a couple of CUNY students, so I'm very excited to ask you this question. Yay. Can you use a graduation photo for your LinkedIn profile photo?
Can you? Of course you can. Would I advise it? 99% of the time, no. Yeah. My niece graduated from Brown this past May. She has a beautiful graduation photo, but that cap says, I am graduating. I am brand new to this game. I am not sure what I'm supposed to be wearing. And just by taking it off, then she was able to use that graduation photo for her LinkedIn photo. So I think just trying to think ahead of how if you want to look professional, which was one of the things that people do want to look, then take the graduation cap off.
Yeah. I would almost say even take the usually have like a gown of some sort off, and maybe go outside. It should be like, it's usually a beautiful day, you know, if possible, and just because you're already dressed up, right? Take some photos outside with a neutral background.
Right.
Yeah,
but
I think that's really good advice.
About using your graduation photo is because you think it will be a professional photo. It is, but it's designed to show you in this transitional stage of life. And so just set up your own photo shoot or come to us.
Yeah, and I think we spoke about this in the pre-call a little bit, where it's like, for us, we probably need to change our profile photo like maybe every 3 years or so, or when we have a major day. Like I just cut my hair, so I need to have get a new profile photo because it has me with long hair and now I have short hair. Right. But I think when you're just graduating college, you may want to actually change it more often.
I agree.
Because as you age, do you know what I mean? Like the older you get, the less you have to change it.
And it's not even about age as much as those first few years, you're transitioning constantly. You're developing a whole new professional personality that you want to project into your photos. And I would say also, I generally would say 2 to 3 years. And if you've had a big weight gain, a big weight loss, if you are looking for a new position, it gives you to not have to show your photo from the one you're leaving, but project who you want to be, where you're going, can be huge mentally.
Sherri, that's great advice. I actually write all of the resumes and LinkedIn profiles for clients, and that's the advice I give to them, where it's like, don't write or market yourself for the job that you have, market yourself for the one that you want.
Yes.
So that's perfect advice, where it's like the old profile photo doesn't serve you. You want to have one that's going to get you to the next step.
Yep.
Which is amazing. Yeah, that's amazing advice. I've got one more question, and I thought this was a really great question from another CUNY student. Should you smile with your teeth?
You notice how my hand immediately went over.
Yeah.
That is a really good question. Can you, I don't know whether you can flip back to the original photo, the montage.
Let me see. Yeah, we can do it. There we go.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So if you look at this, you will see some big smiles, some small smiles, some even no smiles. Generally speaking, I would say smile, but go back to thine own self be true. Make sure it's an authentic smile. Every single photo that I had when I was in school was like this.
Oh wait, let me remove this so we can see. Yeah.
Totally fake. You have 1 minute, snap, and then you move on. And not good, because that's not how I smile. My smile is actually a fairly small. My laugh is big, but my smile is relatively small, and so that's generally what I try to get across in the photo.
Yeah. No, I think that makes total sense. So the answer is use your authentic smile, whether that's closed-lipped, small, big, whatever it is.
Give us yours, Ian. Let's see your authentic smile.
Do you have a joke? I'm saying, I feel like I usually smile pretty big, but and almost too big sometimes. But that's just,
you can't smile too big. Not if it's real.
Sometimes I mean, I think for me, I've seen some photos of me when I have a slightly smaller smile and I like it better, but I think my genuine smile is one that's very, very big. So that's a good note for me. Just whatever your authentic one is, that's the
And
one.
also, if you do have a really big smile and it's
Yeah.
authentic, it will come down a little bit if you just give it a second.
Oh, because your muscles get tired. That's fantastic. Let me look and see what's going on in the chat.
Kim has a
I
question there.
don't see
As a
any. What
designer,
do we got?
I have requests about cropping. Give us a little bit
Was that the
more.
cropping one?
Yeah.
I'm just going through the chat trying to find.
Margaret, because I was so uncomfortable. Isn't it funny that I'm in photography now? I was so uncomfortable in front of a camera. And so I always froze. And this is how I learned. Loosen it up. Loosen it up.
Oh, we do have a question from Margaret. She asks, when you take photos of lawyers, how often do you recommend a suit?
You know what? That's totally about your brand, what kind of law you're in, and if you're in a large firm, what their brand is. I think a lawyer can go either way, but I would say that if it's one that you're going to be really multi-purposing, if you're going to be not just using it on LinkedIn, but in other, professional organizations, et cetera, I would probably err on the side of formal and go with the suit. But if
I
you
would
have
probably
multiple
recommend that.
shots,
Yeah.
yeah.
Although I remember seeing it was a female attorney who started her own, mostly like women-owned law firm, and everyone in the company wore pink blazers.
Awesome.
In all of their photos, which I thought was so on brand. So it was professional, but it was fun, and that was the brand they were going for. Yeah, I've seen that too. Okay, we've got a couple other questions. What are some tips for taking a traditional headshot?
We covered some of them. The 60% is important.
Yeah.
The lighting is crucial. The most traditional headshots are from about here,
Got it.
kind of the clavicle up, with about the same amount of space, top and bottom, sometimes cut a little closer. For the LinkedIn profile photo, and what do you see most often in terms of space around the head, like up here and down here?
I think it's great when your head and you have a little bit of your torso. Do you know what I mean? It's smack in the middle. And I also would recommend, because the photo, and I don't know if it's going to come across on the camera, but the photo's on the left side of the page. And so I think sometimes it looks better, like when people turn to the right, they almost look like they're facing away from their profile, and you're giving people a subtle indication,
So
don't look at my profile. So either I like to say head on or face slightly to the left, so that you're sort of facing in to the content of your profile and directing people's eyes in that way. And I know it sounds so ridiculous that I would say that, but
No,
I've seen
not
so
at
many
all.
profiles when I feel like people are facing this way, and it makes me want to go somewhere else.
This is why chatting with your photographer
Yeah.
is so important. It's so crucial to think through how you're going to use your photos. And if you're there specifically for a LinkedIn photo, definitely bring up the banner, because the photographer can shoot a very specific way at a particular aspect ratio. And also, and that's a great point about facing into your material instead of away from your material or content.
Yeah, and you gave me a really great tip earlier, and you said to moisturize before you take a photo.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Y'all, please moisturize before you come. Please, please, please. You know those little white flecks? You may not know. You may not even see them in the mirror. They show up on camera. Little skin flecks. And the more you moisturize, the less we have to retouch, which also is another topic of conversation. But and the better your skin will reflect light.
See, and it's so funny because I never would have thought of that, like as a top tip to moisturize, which I think is great. And I know we're going to try to squeeze in one more. Do you have any tips for taking your own photo? So let's say you're starting out. Do you know what I mean? Like you just graduated college and you want to work with a professional photographer, but you might not have the budget yet. Any tips for taking your own photo? And I think you covered a lot of this earlier, which is like,
I think
test,
I did.
test,
I think
test,
all
get
of
a
the same
friend.
tips that we have for professionals are the same tips that I would tell you. Don't do it by yourself. Don't do a selfie. Don't do a selfie.
No.
Don't
Yeah,
do
no
a selfie.
selfies. Yeah, I agree.
But I think
Yeah,
we're
no
going to be
selfies.
sharing the deck. Are we sharing the deck out? Are these guys going to get a copy of the?
If folks would like a copy of the deck, just send one of us a message, and happy to send it over.
Yeah, Yeah, actually, that's
Yeah.
the way to do it, because it has some of
do
the
that.
tips actually spelled out, the ones that we've been chatting about, that you can use for a referral on lighting, on how to position lights, on how much of, on what kind of crop to use, how to dress.
Yeah. Okay. So if anyone watching a recording, and I'll put,
Oh, and the
Sherri, do you
recording's
want to
gonna
put
be
your
available
email
too.
address? Yeah. Yeah. Well, just contact us, and after this is over, I'll put some contact information in the chat so you have it in case you're interested. Cool.
And
And
Kristen
then I
just
know
said
we're
that she
what?
dropped it in the chat.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Kristen. And so one more tip. Do you have any tips for retouching?
Yes. Do not use
Yes.
retouching as cosmetic surgery. Bad idea. Anything that is temporarily wrong, oh my God, I got a pimple, retouch that out. My tooth got knocked out and I've got this temporary in. Fine, have that retouched. Don't use it to lose 25 pounds. Don't use retouching to lose 25 pounds. It comes out looking really weird and not authentic. Don't use it to make yourself look 15 years younger or 10 years older if you're just starting out. Bad idea. Look like you. Be authentic.
That makes sense, because I always remember the phrase, people want to do business or work with people they know, like, and trust. And so part of the trust thing
Oh, yeah.
is being authentic in your photo, because when I'm chatting with someone who doesn't look like the photo in their profile, I'm a little taken aback by that, and it makes me uncomfortable. So I think that's a really great tip. Like, fixes it, but don't really change yourself, because people want to know the real you. They want to see the real you.
Retouch.
Yeah.
I always like the idea of retouching to be the best you. So if you've got flyaway hair, it's fine. We can comb those away with retouching. If the zit, the odd, like something went wrong with the lighting, great. All that's fixable. But be you.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. We're a little bit over time. This has been so much fun. Sherri, thank you so much for coming on the live today and sharing your wisdom about how to take a great profile photo. And
oh my God,
I know
words like wisdom.
I know.
I'm happy to share what I know works.
Yeah. Well, I think it's wisdom, and I've had so much fun chatting with you. And I know you and your business partner work out of New York. And is there a way that if people are curious and want to take some new profile photos, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can either reach out to me directly through LinkedIn, which is how many of our clients have contacted me, and that's just at Sherri Phillips. Or you can shoot an email or go visit our website, and there's a contact sheet in there, or it also gives our phone numbers.
Perfect. And for everyone listening, if you are not following Sherri on LinkedIn, you should. Sherri posts the most wonderful content, great questions for everybody. And then once in a while, you'll do a caption contest and you'll post a photo from Deutsch Photography. And it's so much fun to see what everyone says. And you pick,
yes.
Yeah, because the winner gets to pick the winner for the next one, which I think is just fantastic. It's so much fun. So definitely give Sherri a follow on LinkedIn. And I think that's it for today's LinkedIn Live. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, thank you for coming on. And we have more. So SHIP is back for the fall. We will be doing live LinkedIn lives. That's an interesting way to say that. Every Friday for the next month here, 12 o'clock, 12 to 12:30. So follow us on LinkedIn and watch the events page, because all of the new ones will be popping up soon. And we hope to see you again next week. All right. Thank you, Sherri, for joining us.
Comments and everything. Thanks, y'all.
All right.